Welcome to Wahsa Education Center's radio Zoom classes. This is MEL3E, grade 11 workplace math, and I am the teacher, Bronwyn Slate. If you'd like to participate live today, you can call the Wahsa studio at 1-800-465-7144 or 737-4017. You can listen on the radio at 91.9 FM and also on the television at Bell Express View channel 972. You're always welcome to join me live through the Zoom link, which is available from me, your teacher, and also from your DEC. Our classes are scheduled Monday through Thursday from 9 till 10 in the morning, and we are now starting our 4th week of our 9-week course. At this point, you should be submitting work to be marked. So a reminder of what to submit. The support questions, the ones with the pencil icons, are not for marking. You decide which ones and how many to do. They're practice problems. So if you're understanding a concept, feel free to skip questions. You don't have to do them all just because they're there. But also if you need more practice, also understandable. So please let me know and I can send you more practice. However, the key questions, the ones with the little key icon, are the ones to submit for marking. So please do all of these questions. Don't skip any. If you need to go back to one, that's fine, but do them all. Also show all of your work, your steps and your thinking. This way I can understand exactly what it is that you understand. And also if you are making a mistake or struggling with a concept, I'm going to be able to understand what it is more likely if you show me more of your work and I can give you part marks. So please show me all of your steps. Don't just give me your answer. So then how do you submit your work for marking? So the first method is to scan and send your work electronically. You can scan your completed work through a device. If you have an Apple device, you can use the Notes app, or if you have an Android device, you can use the Google Drive app. Both have free scan functions that are fairly straightforward to use. If you're not sure how to do it, let me know and I can walk you through it. If you can't scan it, that's fine. If you need to take a picture to send it, that's okay. I can make it work. Just the scanning makes your files a little bit smaller and a little bit easier for me to access, but no worries if that doesn't work for you. Then send it to me through either email at studentwork@nnec.on.ca and CC it to bronwyn.slate@nnec.on.ca. Or you can also send it to me through Facebook Messenger to bslate.wahsa. The second method is to drop your work off in Sioux Lookout. We have an outdoor mailbox at our 74 Front Street location. We're the bright red building next to the post office, and we have a small white mailbox next to our side entrance. We are unfortunately not yet open to the public, hopefully soon, but at this point, just put your work into that white mailbox and I'll get it back to you as soon as I can. The third method is to hand your work into your DEC. Your DEC can either send your work through the Express or fax it to 807-737-1732 or toll-free fax to 1-800-463-7852. If you'd like to connect with me through social media, both my Facebook and YouTube channel are under the name bslate.wahsa. So if you friend me on Facebook and subscribe to my YouTube channel, you'll get notifications every time I upload one of our videos. All of our radio Zoom classes are posted on YouTube shortly after airing. And I also have short videos explaining common errors and confusing concepts on my YouTube channel. So that's a really good place to go if you're struggling with something. I might address it and have supports for you right there. Math is a really visual subject, so I strongly encourage you to check out the videos. Either join me live through Zoom. You don't have to talk to me, but just watching is going to give you more information than just listening, or accessing the YouTube videos after we air. If for some reason you can't access, you don't have reliable internet or something like that, so you can't access the videos, let me know and I can send you a copy of the recordings so you get the full experience and you really are able to understand to the best, set yourself up for the full, have success. All right, so if you have any questions or concerns, please reach out and contact me. My email address is bronwyn.slate, and that's spelled BRONWYN.SLATE@nnec.on.ca. connect with me through Facebook, where my name is B Slate Wahsa. You can call me at the office at 807-737-1488, and my extension is 2209. You can call us toll free at the office at 1-800-667-3703. My office hours are Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. Though if you can't connect with me during that time, if that doesn't work for you, then just let me know, and we can try to arrange a time to meet outside of those hours. All right, so today's lesson is lesson 8, from simple interest to compound interest. And as I said in our last lesson, lesson 7, 8, and 9 are all sort of connected. And this is the connecting lesson that sort of shows you how simple interest and compound interest are related. It's really good idea to do lesson 7 first. So if you haven't watched that video, go back to that video and watch that video, because you want to understand how simple interest is calculated before we try to figure out how it relates to compound interest. So our learning goals are that at the end of this lesson, you will be able to compound interest using a spreadsheet. So either Excel or Google Sheets we're going to look at. And then you will understand the differences between compound and simple interest. We're going to do a lot more about compound interest in our next lesson. So this is just the connecting piece between the two to make it make sense. Our success criteria, that you understand our learning goals, you've met them, because you can use a spreadsheet to calculate compound interest, and you can explain the differences between compound and simple interest. All right, but when will you use this in real life? Everybody wants to know. So we're looking for patterns in math, and this helps us better understand the world around us. Math is fundamentally patterns. That's one of the main things about how all math concepts are, is they're understanding patterns and expanding those into understanding other things. And there's patterns all over the place in our lives. So if we can get used to understanding the patterns in math, this helps us understand other things in our lives. But first, let's activate our brain with some mental math. I don't like mad math minutes. They stress people out. I was good at them because that's the way my brain works when I was a kid, but they didn't give me skills. So I was able to do the mad math minutes really well. Everybody thought I was great at math, but later in life, when people would be like, oh, you're good at math, you can do this calculation in your head, I didn't have any tools. So I didn't have it memorized. I was good at memorizing because that's what the mad math minute taught me, but it didn't give me any skills or anything that was able to apply in new situations. So instead, now I'm teaching strategies that we can use in various situations in order to set ourselves up for success, so that we can actually do math and understand math, opposed to just memorize random numbers or seemingly random numbers. All right, so our question today is 113 take away 47, and we're going to count back in groups. So subtraction is the bane of many people's existence. Many people really struggle with subtraction, particularly when you have to borrow. So even when people try to follow the steps, they consistently do this wrong. So this is another strategy you can do that helps it make sense. So what we're going to do is that we want to go back 47. So we're going to, instead of counting by ones from 113, counting back 47, that's going to be a lot of counting back. So what we're going to do is we're going to count back in groups that are friendly. Now I am going to use a number line. You don't have to use an open number line, but this just really helps me visualize what I'm doing. So I'm going to start at 113, and I want to take away 47. So I'm going to jump back in friendly groups. So I'm going to go back in it. I'm going to take away 10. So 113 take away 10 means that I get to 103. And then I'm going to take away another 10. My jumps, so 103 take away 10 is going to be 93. If I'm counting back by tens. My jumps don't have to be perfectly the same. As you can see, my lines are wiggly. That's okay. I'm going to take away another 10. So far I've taken away 3 tens. So 93 take away another 10 is 83. I want to take away 40. So that's 4 tens. So I'm going to take away another 10. And I get to 73. So I've taken away 4 groups of 10. I've counted back. I've gone back from 113 to 103 to 100 to 93 to 83 to 73. That's gone back 4 groups of 10. So now I still need to take away 7. So I can do this in a couple of different ways. What I could do is I could go back. I'm just going to change my color. I could go back too far. I could take back a whole nother group of 10 and get down to 63. And then go back up because I took away too much, right? I only needed to take away 7 and I took away another 10 to get to another friendly group. And so then if I go up 3, I'm going to go back up 3 to 66 because I know that 10 take away 3 is 7. So that distance is still going to be 7. So I could have gone back from 73. I could have counted back by from 1, 73, 72, 71, 70, 69, 68, 67, 66, and got me to 66. I used my fingers to count like that. I could totally do that. Or I could jump back. I could have gone back 3 and then 4. I could do various different things, or I could jump back too far and then go back up, and that would work too. So that's by using friendly numbers instead of just counting by 1s, counting by 10s. You could count by 5s. You could count by whatever you wanted, whatever is friendly for you to get to do the subtraction. So that equals 66. All right, what prior learning do we need to know today? We just want to talk a little bit about financial literacy because that's what we're talking about. So in Canada, lots of people really struggle with financial literacy. So lots of people really struggle with money. 55% of Canadians have unsuitable numeracy skills. That means that 55% of Canadians struggle to understand written instructions that rely on charts, numbers, and conditional statements, like if-then statements. So over half of our population in Canada have a hard time understanding math. And this is not through a fault of individuals. I would say that this is a problem with our education system, that we don't set students up for success. Something that we are getting better at and we are working on. Definitely things are improving, but it is something that we've been struggling with for a long time. 6 out of 10 Canadian adults do not have a good idea of how much money they need to save to retire when or in the way that they want to. So 60% of Canadian adults don't have a plan for when they retire. And that's going to have a big impact on them. People who have higher levels of financial confidence tend to have better results with day-to-day money and debt management than those who have low levels of confidence. Does that make sense? If you're comfortable with it, you're going to be able to make easier decisions. 4 out of 10 Canadians report money is a daily concern, and a third of low-income Canadians report worrying about money almost constantly. People are stressed about money, which makes sense. If you don't understand it, it's going to be a stressor. It's something that plays into our lives every day. Less than half of Canadians have a budget. Only 46% of Canadians have a budget, are planning for their money. And about 4 in 10 Canadians say they found ways to increase their financial knowledge, skills, and confidence in the past 5 years. There's evidence that financial literacy, resources, and tools are helping Canadians to manage their money. This is something that we're working to improve on, but we still have places to go. So if this is a struggle for you, understand you are not alone. This is a struggle for lots of people, and it's great that you're here in this course. This is part of what we work on to help understand things. All right, so 10 things you should know during times of financial uncertainty. So if you're struggling with your finances, with your money, these are 10 things that could help you become more confident and set yourself up for success. So keep track of your money. That is a key thing. Know what you're spending and where you're spending. It sucks. It can be stressful. It can be unpleasant part of your day or your week, but ignoring it is not going to help you. You need to pay attention to it. So commit to a plan, a spending plan. So make a budget and stick to that plan. And that's going to help you stay on top of your finances. Minimize your debt, borrow only what you need. Payday loans, we're going to talk about later, but payday loans, credit cards, things like that. If you don't have the money, then you are going to, it's going to be really, really hard to get out from under that. It's going to, so don't borrow if you don't have the money. Protect yourself from financial fraud. So 1 in 5 Canadians say that they were a victim of a financial fraud or scam in the last 2 years. So really pay attention to those, to clicking on links or talking to people and giving your banking information about. Just be really, don't be careful. Don't protect your information. Build good financial habits. If you keep budgeting, if you keep paying attention to your money, this is going to get easier and easier the more you practice. Understand your financial products and services. This is really hard. The financial world is confusing. I've attempted to do this and I'm a math teacher. I spend my life doing math and this still stresses me out. So know that, again, that you're not alone, but ask for help if you can. Set aside some money for unexpected expenses. Having emergency fund is really, really important. If you can figure out how to just set a little bit of money aside, your emergencies happen. All of a sudden, you need a chunk of money that you didn't plan for. If you can plan for the unexpected, the things that is going to set you up for success. So really just trying to pay attention is really what is what you can do the best for yourself. All right, so what are we actually doing today? First, we're going to investigate. So today's lesson is a little bit different than usual, and your booklet is a little bit different than usual because we're just going to be going through some steps. We're going to be following some instructions and going through some steps. And you're not going to be answering questions the same that you usually do, but you're following these steps and handing in this spreadsheet that shows me that you were able to create the spreadsheet, and then some analysis, some understanding what's going on in that spreadsheet is today's lesson. So lesson 8 is different than all of our other lessons. So first we're going to start with simple interest, which is what we spoke about in our last lesson. So a reminder of what that is. For example, you go to a bank with $1,000 to invest for 5 years. Bank A offers to pay 5% simple interest for each year you invest. That means that they will pay 5% on the original amount invested for each year for the length of the investment. So you're investing $1,000. They're going to give you 5% of that $1,000 back every year for those 5 years. So how we calculate that is what we did in our previous lesson. So remember, our starting balance is 1,000. So the balance that our interest is calculated. So the amount that we're investing, so always are investing on $1,000. So our interest earned is $1,000 times 5%, which is 0.05, which is going to be equal to $50. So then our ending balance is $1,050. So then in year 2, our starting balance, how much we have is $1,050. But what do we calculate our interest on? Just the $1,000 that we started with. So our interest earned is going to be the same. It's going to be $50 because it's still $1,000 times 0.05. So now our ending balance is $1,100 because we do what we started with plus that $50. So our starting balance for year 3 is $1,100, but our interest we're calculating on that initial investment, $1,000. So to calculate how much we earn, 5% of $1,000 is $50. So at the end of the year, we have $1,150. So the beginning of the next year, $1,150, but we're only earning interest on that first $1,000. So the amount of interest that we earn in this year is still $50. So now it's 1,200 is how much we've earned. So 1,200 is the beginning, that what we have in the beginning. We still are calculating interest on $1,000. 1,000 times 5 is equal to $50. So at the end of the 5 years, we have $1,250. So if we do simple interest, we end up with $1,250 for those after those 5 years. So here I'm just showing what it looks like on a graph. So we have our years along our x-axis, or along our bottom, and our interest is along our top, along our vertical. And then you can see as I connect our dots, we can see that we have a straight line and we're going up by $50 every year. We can see in our table of values that we go up by $50 every year. So this is how simple interest works. Okay, so that's what we've done. We did in lesson 7. That's just a reminder of how that works. So compound interest. So you go to a bank, again, you're checking out another bank. You have $1,000 to invest for 5 years, but bank B offers to pay 5% compound interest for each year you invest. This means that they will pay 5% on the original amount invested, plus on any interest earned for each year for the length of the investment. So this is how this is different. So we'll walk through it. So starting balance, we're starting with $1,000. The balance that we're calculating right now, we have $1,000. That's how much we're investing. So the interest earned is 1,000 times 5%, which is 0.05, which is $50. So our ending balance is $1,050. So you're like, okay, we're doing the same thing. So far, yes, year 1 is exactly the same, but our starting balance for year 2 is $1,050. Now, the balance that interest is calculated on in year 2 is now $1,050. Now we're calculating interest on that $50. So we're going to find 5% of $1,050. Now this one I can't do in my head as well. So we're going to do it on the calculator just to make sure I get it right. Right. For some reason, this hates me. Okay, $1,050 times 5% is equal to $52.50. So in year 2, we've earned $52.50. So the end of our year, we have 1,100, because so what we're doing, right, is we're adding how much we started with, which is 1,050, plus our interest, which is $52.50. So we have $1,102.50 is how much we end with at the end of year 2. So that means the beginning of year 3, we have $1,102.50. So what do we calculate our interest on? We calculate our interest on our whole amount, $1,002.50. So we're now going to find 5% of $1,102.50. So times that by 5%. So $1,102.50 times 5% is $55.13. oops, sorry, $55.13. So now we're going to add that to how much we started with in this third year. So $1,102.50 plus $55.13. So that is going to be $1,157.63. So that means at the starting of year 4, we have $1,157.63. So what do we calculate the interest on? We calculate on that whole amount, right? $1,157.63. So $1,157.63 times 0.05. We're finding 5% of that now. So we calculate 5% of that, and it's $57.88. So $1,157.63 plus $57.88. And I'm going to use my calculator this time to add that. And we get $1,215.51. And then in year 5, we have $1,215.51. What are we doing our interest on? We're doing it on the whole amount, $1,215.51. So we find 5% of $1,215.51 times 5% is equal to $60.78. So now we add $1,215.51 plus $60.78 is equal to, just gonna write down here at the bottom, $1,276.29. $12.96.29. It just doesn't like me. Sorry. So at the end of 5 years with compound interest, we now have $1,276.29. So let's look at that on a graph. So again, we have our years and our interest as our axes. Those are the things that we're comparing. And we plot, so we have our amounts. My pen has now stopped working because today is just not my day. So we are now going to, you can see my points are plotted. I have my dots. And you can see if I put my line on it, now my line isn't quite as straight. It's still straight, like it still looks kind of straight, but it isn't. It's curving a little bit. In just 5 years, it's hard to see this change, but our line slightly is curving. So if we compare it to our simple interest, remember our simple interest was straight. So this line is our simple interest, the pink line from before, and that was a straight line. And now when I compare it, I look at our compound interest, you can see, oh, that line is curving. It's not, it's going up higher. We've ended up at a higher amount in those 5 years compared to that simple interest 5 years. So what is the difference really? So in simple interest, this is you're based on the principal amount of the loan or deposit. So it's linear growth. You're growing in a straight line. You're always going to grow at the same rate the entire life of the investment or the loan. Compound interest is based on the principal amount and the interest that accumulates on it in every period. So this is exponential growth. You're getting bigger. You're not growing by the same amount each time. You're getting bigger and bigger and bigger. So you can see on this graph over time, your compound interest is a lot higher compared to your simple interest. Your simple interest doesn't grow very fast. It grows at the same rate the entire time, whereas your compound interest grows faster and faster and faster over time because you're making interest on your interest. So doing this by hand is tedious. As you probably noticed, it is a pain in the butt to do all these calculations by hand, doing them, writing them out over and over again. But doing them on a spreadsheet is really quite simple. So we're going to show you, I'm going to talk through how to do it on Excel, and then I'm going to show you how to do it on Google Sheets. They're basically the same. Your instructions in your booklet are the same as the Excel ones. If you have access to Excel, great. If you don't, you can still use the Excel instructions to access the Google Sheets, which you have access to through your NNEC email address. If you're not trying to do that, let me know. So these are just the instructions to do it through Excel, using the current version of Excel that you have. Open just the way that you would open any sort of program. They give you step by step, like you don't have any experience in opening a document, doing a document at all. So if some of this is obvious to you, no worries. If it's not, then follow the steps. So double click on your icon on your desktop or click under Start, which is generally down here, and open Microsoft if you are using Windows. Then your Excel spreadsheet looks like this, with all these little grids, these little cells, these little things. And so you're going to automatically, you're selecting this one, so that's a little bit different in color. You're going to type principal in there and press enter, and it's automatically going to move down to the next cell. Then they want you to move up over here so that you're in cell C1, so that you are lined up with where you set principal. And you're going to format this to be money. So you're going to go to format, which is over here. And then you're going to get this screen where you're going to go down to currency. Or no, they want you to do it a number and get 2 decimal places. So again, following these steps, they tell you each thing where to click. Then when you put in 1000, then it shows you that it gets a decimal place. It gets 2 decimal places. So now we're saying principal is 1000. Then they're going to put in, you're going to type in A2, which is here, the interest rate percent, and then over on C2, you're going to type in 5 because that's what we've been talking about. So this is just showing your information that we're putting in. Then you're going to go down and in across row 4, you're going to type in year, principal, interest, and amount. Type those headings in, and then you're going to put in your years, your principal, and your principal amount, and format them so that they're 2 decimal places. The next part is where the math starts happens, is that you're going to get the computer to do the math for you. So you're going to put in the formula that you see exactly the way that you see it in your notes. So in your IO booklet, you're going to type in equals B5 times 0.05. So the equal tells the computer that they're doing the math. It's important to have the equals. It has to you're putting in a formula. You're telling the computer that it has to do the math. So then you say B5. So then you're taking So B5 is this cell here with 1,000. And so it's going to take the information that's in cell B5 and it's going to times it by 0.05, which is 5%. You're going to type that in. When you hit enter, that is going to change and it's going to give you the answer of what 1,000 times 0.05 is. It's just going to show you the answer. It's not going to show you this formula that you put in anymore. Then when you go over to the amount, you're going to say, okay, I want you to add B5 and C5 together, and they're going to add it together. Remember, you have to have the equal sign. And then you're going to go down to B6, and you're going to put in D5, and it's going to take the number that is in D5 and write it again here in B5, because that's the beginning principal, how much you're investing at the beginning of year 2. So again, following the words, the instructions will tell you exactly how to do all of this. Instead of keeping reading this, I'm going to go through and I'm going to show you how to do it in Google Sheets, because again, it is very, very similar, but seeing actually do it might make a little bit more sense. So you can follow my instructions that I'm about to give you, and it's going to be very, very similar in Excel compared to Google Sheets. Everyone has access to Google Sheets through our MEL3E email address. So I'm going to open up my web browser. Now I use Google Chrome. You can use different things. My computer hates me. Sorry, hopefully this is going to not be too much of a pain. Okay. So I'm going to open up a new tab, and my homepage looks like this. Your homepage might look different. And then you can just type up either in your search or in your URL bar at the top, your address bar, you can type in Google Sheets. And then it's going to give you Google Sheets. And you can click on one of these depending on, so go to Google Sheets. There's various different ways. If you are in your NNEC account, you're going to also see this 3 over on the right. You might see this little 9 dots in a square that shows all the Google apps, and you can go down and select your Google Sheets, which is this green icon that says Sheets. Once you get to your Sheets, you're going to click blank, this plus, because we want to create a new one. And then now you get a spreadsheet. As you can see, it looks very similar to the Excel spreadsheets. I have on my left what I want it to get to eventually, just to remind me. So you're going to end up with following the instructions, even in your IL booklet, even though it says for Excel, you're going to do the same thing. So in cell A1, I'm going to type in principal and dollars, because that's what I want. And if you press enter, you're going to go down to A2. And then I'm going to use my arrows to go up to C1, and I'm going to type in 1,000. Now you can do what they suggest. What I'm actually going to do is I'm going to select my 1,000 and see where this dollar sign is. I'm going to format it as currency. I'm going to say this is money. I'm going to make it money. And then now it puts it in the decimal places and it gives me the dollar sign. You don't have to do it. You don't have to format a currency. You could just go over to the number and put it as a number with 2 decimal places. That's fine too. Both are totally fine. Then I'm going to click over at A2 and I'm going to put my interest rate and my percentages, percent sign to show that this is a percent, and I'm just going to put in 5. And when I press enter, it jumps down to the next line. I'm going to give myself a space to just spread things out, and I'm going to type in year, principal. When I press tab, it jumps over to the next one. That's how I'm moving from one to the next if I'm going across a row. Again, you do not need to do this, as it isn't about you doing it fast or about doing it as elegantly as I'm doing it. Just getting the information in is fine. If you need to move around and click, use arrows, it's all good. So now I have my headings. I have the year, the principal, the interest, the amount. Those are my headings. Those are telling me what the numbers that are going to be below, what they're going to be equal to. So in year, I'm going to put in 1, 2, 3. Now, it kind of is annoying to go through and type all of these. So if I type in, because if I want, say I wanted 30 years, that's a lot of things to type. So I'm going to put in 1, 2, 3, and then I'm going to highlight them. I'm going to click on them and drag. And then if I click this little blue button at the bottom right corner, and I get this arrow, this sort of like crosshairs, and I drag it down, and I'm going to drag down all the way down here, it continues to, it goes in the same pattern. So it shows me that because I was doing 1, 2, 3, it says I want to go up one number at a time, and it does it all. It fills it all in for me. So I can do it like that. If you want to type them all in, that's totally fine. If you go too many, you can delete what you needed. You could only go down to what you needed. It's all good. So then principal, we're going to put in 1,000. That's how much we started with. And then our interest. So here we're going to type in equals because we're telling it that I'm doing a formula. I want it to do with the math. And then I'm going to click on the principal and see how it puts in B5 because that's the cell name. And then I'm going to times, which the times is an asterisk, which you do Shift 8. And that's what Excel, what's Excel and Google Sheets, what it's the symbol for multiplying. And then I want it to be 5%, so 0.05. And then I'm going to press enter. And now see, even though I didn't type 50 in, it gave me 50. So it's showing me in the cell that it's 50. If I look up here in my formula bar, you can see the formula that I typed in. If I made a mistake, I can go back there and fix it. One tricky thing is that if you're typed in here and then I want to click off of it, it may think that you're trying to put another cell in. So sometimes it can be a little bit finicky. Then in amount, I'm going to do equals, and I want it to do, it's giving me an idea. They're like, oh, do you want to do the same thing as before? I'm just going to ignore that. I want it to be 100. I want it to be, 1,000, the principal plus the interest. So I want those two cells to be added together. And there we go. I press enter and they did the math for me. Then the last thing I need to do is I'm going to go to my year 2. I'm going to press equals, and I want that to be the same thing as that my amount was. So I'm going to put in D5. So it is now D5. Now, again, I don't want to copy. I don't want to type everything out. So I'm going to select my interest and my amount cells. So they're highlighted in blue, and I'm going to copy them, which there's lots of different ways you can do that. You can go to edit and you can go to copy. And then I'm going to click under for my year 2 interest. I'm going to now paste. I'm going to go to edit and I'm going to paste. And now it has done the math for me. And now I don't have to type in those formulas, as you can see, are still in here. They've changed it so that I'm talking about year 2 principal, but you don't have to actually type them out. Now, if I look at them, I say, but it's 0.5, I want it to be money. So I'm going to highlight all of my numbers and I go back to click on that currency. And now it's gone back to money to show me that I'm talking about money. And then I can do the same thing that I before. I highlight now that my year 2 is all done. I can highlight them and drag down in this fill down box and it shows me it does all of the math for me. So I don't have to do any of the math. So if I click on one cell, it shows me the formula that it's doing, but it's done all of the math for me and I don't have to go through and do them each individual one. And that's how you use a spreadsheet. Both Excel and Google Sheets are the same thing. That's what they're going to show you. So you can calculate all of this really quickly. I was able to do 20 years of calculations in a second because the computer did the work. And I was able to see that then that investment would be after 21 years, how much I would have at the end. So that's why using a spreadsheet can be really, really useful because it does all of the math for you. If this is hard, this is not something that you're comfortable with, that you have experience with, let me know. Call me and we can walk through it together. It's a little bit different, but instead of just skipping it, call me and let me help you. Lots of students in the past have just skipped it, but connect with me because I can help you walk through. I can walk you through it. That's my job, is to be here to support you. So please reach out and connect with me. But that's how you do a Google spreadsheet. And again, it's very similar for doing if you're doing it on Excel. So there's no support questions for lesson 8. You need to follow the steps and answer all the questions and hand it all in. You're going to print off the Excel or Google Sheets thing, or you're going to send me an email or a message with it in it with a screenshot or a picture. And then you're going to answer the questions that relate to analyzing, to understanding what's going on in that spreadsheet. Now, if you don't have access to a computer or you don't have access to Excel or Google Sheets easily, let me know. Contact me so that I can help you do Google Sheets if you have access to a computer, because you do have access to Google Sheets through your NNEC email address. I can show you how to get into that and I can help you with all of that. But if you don't have access to a computer, which makes sense, not everyone does, please let me know and contact me for an alternative lesson. Don't just skip it and get 0 for it. Contact me so that I can help you, and I have something else for you to do where you don't lose all of the marks for just skipping it. Don't just skip it. Contact me. Lots of students have just skipped it. You can do this, but you just need to communicate with me, please. All right, so doing another example. So if I want to compare what it is in terms of simple interest and compound interest, and we're going to use a spreadsheet to see the difference. So I'm going to go back to my spreadsheet. I'm going to get a new one. And I'm going to show you how it would look like, how we would compare simple interest to compound the interest. So I have $2,000 invested at 4% for compound interest compared to simple interest. So my principal is $2,000. My interest rate is 4%. So I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it for simple interest. And then I'm going to do it for compound interest. So I still have my year, my principal, my interest. Sorry, not in percentage. I want this in money. And my final amount for that year. Okay, so I'm doing it for 25 years. So I'm going to put in a few years and then I'm going to highlight them all and drag down to 25 years. I want too many. I'm just going to delete the ones I don't want. And then for simple interest, my principal is $2,000. My interest is equal to my principal times 0.04. And my amount is equal to my principal plus my interest. So for simple interest, in year 2, my principal is still the same. It's still $2,000. My interest is still going to be the same. So I can just copy for my principal, my interest is the same every year. So I can just copy that down. But my amount is where it's different. So here, instead of adding my principal plus my interest, I'm going to add my previous amount plus my new interest amount. And that, I don't want it to autofill, is, as you can see, then this adds the $80 each year. So then you can fill it same down all the way down. So you can see that we're adding $80 every year and our amount increases. So for our compound interest, I'm doing this really fast so that because we're running out of time. I just want to show you how it's different. So we have $2,000. Our interest is equal to 2,000 times 0.04. And our amount is equal to our principal plus our interest. But now our principal the next year is our amount. And so you can see that, turn that into money because there's so many decimal places. We can see that after 25 years, we now have, with compound interest, we have $5,331.67. Whereas with simple interest, we just have $4,000 at the end of 25 years. So this just shows you how much, the same amount of money, how much compound, we didn't do anything differently other than the fact that we're compounding, other than the fact that the bank is doing it differently, and you get over $1,000 more of an investment. So that's really, really, like, this is the big difference in terms of simple interest and compound interest, is that it's a big difference over time. So compound interest has the greatest impact over a long period of time. It's something that when you're really, really close, it does. When you're a short period of time, doesn't have a huge impact, but if you have a long period of time, you have a big impact. All right, so let's quickly consolidate before we run out of time. So remember, simple interest is only calculated on the principal and it's constant growth. Compound interest is calculated on the principal and the accumulated interest. It's exponential growth. It has a rapid, it changes really fast. And the biggest impact of this after a long period of time. Using spreadsheets, hopefully you're comfortable with either Excel or Google Sheets. If you don't have computer access, please reach out and ask for something else. I have something else for you. So hopefully the success criteria you feel comfortable with, using a spreadsheet to calculate your compound interest. You can explain the difference between compound and simple interest. This is super, super key. You need to understand the difference between the two. All right, sorry that I had to rush through the end of it. It's, as you can see, it takes a bit of time, but it's so much faster going on doing the spreadsheet. If you have any questions or concerns, please reach out and contact me. You can do this the usual ways, which is call me at 807-737-1488, extension 2209, or 1-800-667-3703. Email me at bronwyn.slate@nnec.on.ca, or connect with me through Facebook at bslatewahsa. This recording will be put up on YouTube at bslatewahsa shortly after airing, so you can go back and you can slow it down. You can pause it if you need to. And take the time that you need to. Sorry that I had to rush through the end. Thanks so much for joining me. I hope you have a lovely day, and miigwech.